technology dinosaur. And so I'm going to do my best to get this set up correctly. Welcome to Insight Meditation Community of Charlotte. We're obviously delighted to have you. I'm one of 5 Dharma leaders. Dharma means teachings of the Buddha. So we're living in a time of great upheaval. And it seemed to me only right in the midst of the Summer Sutta series, in fact, this is the last, to explore the views of one of our big issues and see what the Buddha had to say about race. But first, I want to make a few basic points about race. The following information comes, hold on, I see something I'm supposed to hit. No, that didn't work either. Well, I'm doing the best I can. First, I want to discuss some basic points about race. The following information comes from a documentary called Race, The Power of an Illusion. Now, I had posted all of the references, and I will post them again at the end of my talk. First of all, race is a modern idea. Ancient societies, like the Greeks, did not divide people according to physical distinctions, but according to religion, status, class, even language. The English language didn't even have the word race until it appeared in a poem in 1508. Secondly, race has no genetic basis. Not one characteristic, trait, or even gene distinguishes all the members of one so-called race from all the members of another so-called race. 3, skin color is only skin deep. And knowing someone's skin color doesn't necessarily tell you anything else about him, her, or them. 4, slavery predates race. Throughout much of human history, societies have enslaved others, often as a result of conquest, war, debt, but not because of physical characteristics or a belief in natural inferiority. Due to a unique set of historical circumstances, ours was the first slave system where all the slaves shared similar physical characteristics. 5, the concept of race and freedom evolved together. The US was founded on the radical new principle that all men are created equal. But our early economy was based largely on slavery. How can we rationalize that? The new idea of race became a convenient way to explain why some people could be denied rights and freedoms that others took for granted. Race justified social inequities as natural. As the race idea evolved, white superiority became the norm in America. It justified not only slavery, but also the extermination of American Indians, exclusion of Asian immigrants, and the taking of Mexican lands by a nation that professed a belief in democracy. Racial practices were institutionalized within American government, laws, and society. 7, race is not biological, but racism is still real. Race is a powerful social idea that gives people different access to opportunities and resources. Our government and social institutions have created advantages that disproportionately channel wealth, power, and resources to white people. And this affects everyone, whether we're aware of it or not. At the time of the Buddha, the concept of race was not present, but the caste system was firmly established in India, the birthplace of the Buddha. According to this system, a person's position in society was determined from the time he was born, and there was no way to change one's lot in life. There were 4 castes: the Brahmins or priests, who claimed to be the highest caste and the purest of people, the warriors, the merchants and traders, and 4, the untouchables, who were considered the lowest class. They became workers and servants who did all the menial jobs and were treated as slaves. The Buddha condemned the caste system, which he considered unjust. He pointed out that there existed wicked and cruel people, as well as virtuous and kind people in every caste. Any person who had committed a crime would be punished accordingly by their karma, no matter what caste they belonged to. He said a person may be considered to have come from a high or low caste according to their good and bad deeds. Therefore, according to the Buddha, it is the good and bad actions of a person and not their birth that should determine their caste. Out of the Buddha's beliefs came the Sutta Asalayana, excuse me, from the Middle Discourses, number 93. This sutta is long and, like all suttas, repeats key sentences so that as an oral tradition, the monks and students of the Buddha could learn from him and recite his teachings. It begins like this. I have heard that on one occasion, the Blessed One was staying near Savatthi in Jetta's Grove. And on that occasion, 500 Brahmins from various provinces were staying at Savatthi. The thought occurred to them, this Gautama, the contemplative, prescribes purity for the 4 castes. Now, who is capable of disputing with him on this statement? On that occasion, the Brahmin student, Asalayana, was staying at Savatthi. Young, shaven-headed, 16 years old, he was a master of the 3 Vedas with their vocabularies, liturgy, etymology, skilled in philology and grammar, and had the marks already of a great man. So the Brahmins went to the Brahmin student Asalayana and said to him, Master Asalayana, this Gautama, the contemplative, prescribes purity for the 4 castes. Come and dispute him on this statement. When this was said, the Brahmin student Asalayana said to the Brahmins, Sirs, Gautama, the contemplative, is one who speaks Dhamma, and those who speak Dhamma are hard to dispute with. I can't dispute with him on this statement. But the other Brahmins wore him down, and eventually he agreed. Then the Brahmin student Asalayana went with a large group of Brahmins to the Blessed One, and on arrival, exchanged courteous greetings with him, and he sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to the Blessed One, Master Gautama, the Brahmins say Brahmins are the superior caste. Any other caste is inferior. Only Brahmins are the fair caste. Any other caste is dark. Only Brahmins are pure, not non-Brahmins. Only Brahmins are the sons and offspring of God Brahma. Born of his mouth, born of Brahma, created by Brahma, heirs of Brahma. What does Gautama, Master Gautama, have to say with regard to that? Now this series of sentences gets repeated over and over again. I'm not going to repeat them all the time. One more time. And the first point that the Buddha makes is, but Asalana, the Brahmin women are plainly seen having their periods, becoming pregnant, giving birth, and nursing their children. And yet the Brahmins, being born through the birth canal, say Brahmins are the superior caste. Any other caste is inferior. Only Brahmins are the sons and offspring of God Brahma, born of his mouth, born of Brahma, created by Brahma, heirs of Brahma. What do you think, Asalayana? The Buddha continues. Is it only a noble warrior who, taking life, stealing, engaging in sexual misconduct, telling lies, speaking divisively, speaking harshly, engaging in idle chatter, greedy, bearing thoughts of ill will, and holding wrong views on the breakup of the body after death, reappears in a lower realm, hell, and not a Brahmin? Is it only a merchant? Is it only a worker who, because of misconduct, reappears after death in hell and not a Brahmin? No, Master Gautama. Even a noble warrior, even a Brahmin, even a merchant, even a worker, if they take life, steal, and engage in sexual misconduct, tell lies, speak divisively, speak harshly, engage in idle chatter, are greedy, bear thoughts of ill will, and hold wrong views on the breakup of the body after death, reappear in hell. So what strength is there, Asalayana? What assurance when the Brahmins say Brahmins are the superior caste? What do you think, Asalayana? Is it only a Brahmin who is capable of developing in any direction a heart of goodwill, free from animosity, free from ill will, and not a noble warrior, not a merchant, not a worker? No, Master Gautama. Even a noble warrior, even a Brahmin, even a merchant, even a worker are capable of developing in any direction a heart of goodwill, free from animosity, free from ill will. The Buddha continues. What do you think, Asalayana? There is the instance where a noble warrior youth might cohabitate with a Brahmin maiden, the Buddha said, and from their cohabitation, a son would be born. Would the son born from the noble warrior youth and Brahmin maiden be like the father and like the mother? Should it be called a noble warrior and a Brahmin? Yes, Master Gautama. What do you think, Asalana? There is the case where a Brahmin youth might cohabitate with a noble warrior maiden, and from their cohabitation, a son would be born. Would the son born from the Brahmin youth and the noble warrior maiden be like the father and like the mother? Should it be called a noble warrior and a Brahmin? Yes, Master Gautama. Notice what the Buddha says next. What do you think, Asalayana? There is the case where a mare might mate with a donkey, and from their mating, a foal would be born. A foal would be born. Would the foal born from the mare and the donkey be like the father and like the mother? Should it be called a horse and a donkey? Master Gautama, from the mixed breeding, it would be a mule. Here I see that the mixed breeding makes a difference, but there, in the other two cases, I don't see that it makes a difference. Again, when the Buddha is about to make a point, he says, what do you think, Asalana? Do you know if the mother who bore you went only with a Brahmin and not with a non-Brahmin? No, Master. And do you know if the mothers of the mother who bore you, back 7 generations of mothers, went only with Brahmins and not with non-Brahmins? No, Master. And do you know if the father who sired you went only with a Brahmin woman and not with non-Brahmin women? No, Master. And do you know if the fathers of the father who bore you, back 7 generations of fathers, went only with Brahmin women and not with non-Brahmin women? No, Master. But do you know for sure whether the baby is a noble warrior, a Brahmin, a merchant, or a worker? No, Master. That being the case, do you know who you are? That being the case, Master, we don't know who we are. Now, Asalayana, how can you now defend your own birth statement when interrogated, pressed, and challenged? When this was said, the Brahmin student Asalayana said to the Blessed One, magnificent, Master Gautama, magnificent. And so the Buddha made his case, and Asalayana saw the wrongfulness of the Brahmin's claim. Now, what struck me most about this sutta was how the Buddha presented and built his case to Asalayana. Now, the sutta is much longer than what I presented, and the Buddha had many examples. But notice, the Buddha always spoke calmly. At no point does he get irritated, angry, defensive, frustrated, or indignant with Asalayana. He engages Asalayana using the images and vocabulary from ordinary life. He respects and trusts Asalayana's intelligence, never degrading him, never putting him on the defensive. His case is strong, clear, and irrefutable. The learning for me, and perhaps if we all learn to present our case to those we disagree with using calm wisdom of the Buddha, or like the Buddha, we could also bring others to see that respect for all beings is the wholesome path. The Buddha introduced the idea of placing a higher value on morality and the equality of people instead of on which family or caste a person is born into. This was also the first attempt to abolish discrimination and slavery in the history of mankind. The Buddha said, by birth, one is not an outcast. By birth, one is not a Brahmin. By deeds alone, one is an outcast. By deeds alone, one is a Brahmin. And that last part came from the Sutta Nipata, number 142. Thank you. There went the gong. What I'd like to do now is invite you through chat to ask questions, make comments, add your thoughts in any way that seems to fit. And I will pay attention to the chat. And while I do that, I'm going to also read you the June announcements, since it takes a while for the chat to come up. As some of you noticed, we are now offering the Insight Meditation Instruction session before the Wednesday evening meditation. The instruction session starts at 7 p.m. and will be conducted in a separate Zoom session. So you want to pay attention to which session you're clicking into, because each link is for a separate session. Each Wednesday, you'll receive 2 Zoom invitations. So make sure you choose the correct one. If you know anyone else who's interested in learning about Insight Meditation, please feel free to send them the link. Next Wednesday, the practice discussion, which we do the first of every month, will be for seasoned practitioners. It will start in a separate Zoom meeting at 6:45, and the link will be in the weekly Zoom email and on the website. So another announcement, and I got a kick out of this, it says STD, and I was trying to figure out what is STD other than sexual transmitted diseases. Stand to be determined. Wednesday evening, July 15th. Please pay attention to this. The guest leader will be Bhikkhu Bodhi. This online event starts at 7, and the title of his talk is Changing the Mind, Changing the World. He will inquire into the particular Buddhist teachings that can form a theoretical basis for engaged Buddhism, and the ways these teachings can be applied to work for creating a more just and sustainable world. Additional information will be posted on the website as it becomes available. Remember always to check our website, imccharlotte.org, for other upcoming events and changes to events. Well, I can tell that I thoroughly made my case because I don't see a single question My goodness, just presenting what the Buddha said has convinced everyone, hopefully, that we have to do our part to change the direction of our country. We are each part of this, and we each have an opportunity to make a difference in the world. I'm going to close the chat, and if anyone wants to, hold on one second, there is a comment from my son who's probably trying to trick me. Does the Buddha offer any wisdom or advice on engaging with other people while also addressing harm? Well, Scott, if I was really good at that, I wouldn't get so upset when I'm engaging someone who I totally disagree with. I think the first and most important thing is to have a good case, to begin to build your case and maintain calm. Must those who provide the emotional labor of education always present respectfully? Yes, I think so. Obviously, I think the more we respect the people we're talking to, the greater the chance that they will listen and feel valued enough to hear our case. Either way, the bottom line is shouting at each other never changes anybody's mind. Respecting does change some minds. Dawn has said, I was impressed by the thought the Buddha respected the other's intelligence. This is not something I readily think about when I disagree with someone, but it certainly changes how I see that person in my mind, because then you can think of them more as an equal. You are welcome for that, Dawn. And Brian, wow, I've planted both my sons here. In addition to the message of all created equal, our part is also learning how to be anti-racist, to actively speak against and stand up against proactively dismantling the caste system or systemic racism. How do we respect and also act? So I'm going to post something right now, which are my references. But if you will write down the very first link, you can begin looking at your own racist tendencies, much of which could be implicit because most of us are not even aware when we are being racist. So what I'd like to suggest is if you have a pencil and paper, that you write down this first link. It is a very easy 21-day challenge. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes a day, and it is eye-opening. Get your information straight, and it is so much easier to be able to argue your case. Peter Wallen said, given the history, is there any information or thoughts as to why the Buddha's teachings haven't ended the caste system to this day? Well, We don't have a classic caste system. But the bottom line is we have a system that discriminates, that was built in to our laws and our agenda. And we each are responsible for wiping out that agenda, changing our intention. But we can't change our intention until we understand all of the implicit bias that we walk around with, the words we use, the way we address people. All you have to do is look at a boardroom and you can see that most boards are predominantly white. And as long as we hold to white being privileged, and if you disagree with the idea that whites are privileged, why not do some reading about it? Because most white people don't think of themselves as being privileged. And that's why I put up the 21-day challenge. I see one more person added something. How would I suggest using this teaching to present to someone when they want to see artwork where another sees intense harm? What I think it all boils down to is get your information, change your own behavior, understand how you are part of the system. Make sure you're teaching your children. Make sure you're addressing other people with respect and not regard for who they are, but for what they have presented themselves as. And if it's someone that you're uncomfortable with, then I'd like to suggest do the 21-day challenge, and you will have lots of information to use in a calm, intelligent, well-presented way. Just know that if you disparage the person you're talking to, why would they want to listen to you? Why would they hear what you're saying? As long as we put our adversaries down, we don't have a chance of changing people's minds. Thank you. And Debbie says thank you for being willing to put a light on this. I'm going to suggest that you remember we do have a Donna box. It's not a real box, but you can show gratitude by contributing in some way to the Sangha. And there is a link on Insight Meditation Community from at charlotte.org. Debbie just put up the link. And if you look under chat, it's www.IMC Charlotte. Babita asks, what is the link for the 21-day challenge to challenge my implicit bias? Okay, look at my sharing under it's where it says talk given on July 20. Oh, it's June 24th. Sorry, I totally missed that. https:// or is that // You can tell I know a lot about technology. J Sparkman 7 dot Wix site, WIX site.com/21-day challenge. I just want you to know that you can use your phone and take a picture of this, and then you will have it. And Debbie has also put that, oh no, Denise did. Thank you, Denise. Put that up. And if anyone doesn't get it and wants it, you can write to me. And that is courtesy, I want to say Elise Guller, but that's not her married name. Barbara's daughter sent that to us, and it is excellent. And I invite you all to begin exploring your own prejudices. Thank you. I hope to see you next week. Take care. Someone says she cannot get on the website. Go to the website and look. Oh, you can't get on it. Send me your email. And my email is Alexis, ALEXISJSTEIN @yahoo.com. And I will hook you up with someone who may be able to help. Thank you. Be safe. And hope to see you next week.